What up, everyone? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This week's episodes are brought to you by JB Weld, the world's strongest bond. Listen, if you've been anywhere near car people, you have heard of JB Weld. We have used it to fix things for more than 50 years. The pros trust it, but why even hire a pro when JB Weld's adhesive products make it so easy to do it yourself? Whether it's a DIY home project, an automotive repair, plumbing, marine, or more, for projects big and small, at home or in your garage, use JB Weld. In fact, JB Weld products can be used on practically anything: metal, wood, plastics, glass, ceramics, and more. Keep it in your toolbox, your kitchen drawer, and even the back of your truck. Speaking of which, JB Weld just acquired Herculiner, the original DIY truck bed liner. So if you're looking for the world's strongest truck bed liner, Herculiner's got you covered there as well. Sidebar, I said I was going to use the Herculiner to paint a fake rug on my floor, and I did. I painted a fake rug in my lobby with Herculiner bed liner and a combination of that and paint, and it's awesome. It looks cool. Go check it out on my Instagram. Be your strongest self. Use JB Weld, the world's strongest bond. It is available at jbweld.com, Walmart, Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, AutoZone, Advanced Auto Parts, Napa, O'Reilly's, Michaels, and more. JB Weld epoxy products are proudly made in the USA. Yeah, JB Weld. We love them. HelloFresh is here this week, and HelloFresh is delicious. They have a special deal going on, 14 meals plus free shipping. Hear me out. With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Here's the deal. HelloFresh cuts out stressful meal planning and grocery store trips so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes or less. I'm going to address each of those points. Stressful meal planning. I feel you on that. I get into a rut where I make the same 5 or 6 things that I can autopilot without a recipe, and finding something new to make from scratch is stressful. Grocery store trips are a pain in the ass. We know this, okay? They just are. There's nothing we can do about it. And I don't like leftovers, so I would end up going to the grocery store every single day for fresh ingredients. Enjoying cooking. Same thing. I love cooking, but the hardest part of cooking for me is finding new things to cook. With HelloFresh, they send you the ingredients, the spices, the sauces, everything pre-measured so you can try a new recipe without having to commit to some giant jar of spice or sauce that you'll never know if you use the second half. It's like you need to buy like a $12 spice to make a recipe for 2. That's not good. HelloFresh solves that. Getting dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes or less. I have made at least 15 to 20 meals from HelloFresh, and I don't know about 30 minutes or less. Some are like 30 to 40 if you count the total prep, but 30 to 40 for a delicious meal starting from things are in the refrigerator is pretty good. I am really about these options, right? And they're offering a great, really good deal. Go to HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and use code SmokingTire14 for up to 14 meals plus free shipping, okay? So you got to go to the website and use the code. You got to do both. HelloFresh.com/SmokingTire14 and use code SmokingTire14 for up to 14 meals plus free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit for a reason, because it's delicious. It's delicious. And speaking of listening up, Raycon's earbuds. These Bluetooth wireless earbuds are super awesome. They sent me a set. I didn't really know how to set them up on my phone. I literally just charged them using a micro USB in this little case. I just powered them on, activated Bluetooth on my phone, and then boom, they just like connected and a podcast just started playing, and that was it. They were connected, and I didn't really know that I wanted earbuds before until these Raycons honestly changed my mind. Here's why. One, I have big stupid ears, you know, and those other earbuds that are the really, really popular ones that are like white that a lot of people are using, they're made by the phone company, those don't fit in my ears. They fall out. You know, if I move my head around, they just fall out. And that was a problem when they had wires, and it's still a problem now that they don't. The Raycons, they have multiple different attachments that attach for different ear sizes. It stays in my ears. I took a really long, like 2.5 hour drive the other day wearing them. I did not have to make any earbud adjustments. I put them in once, they just stayed. You get crisp, powerful beats, half the price of other premium audio brands. They look great and they feel even better. They come in a whole bunch of different colors with customizable gel tips, like I just said, for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. Now that they're paired, literally every time I take them out of the case, I just put them in my ears, I turn them on, they're paired. That's it. They're done. And then I put them in the case and they automatically power off. Done. Easy. Listen up. Raycon's offering 15% off all of their products for my listeners. And here's what you have to do. Go to buyraycon.com/smoking. That's BUYRAYCON. Buyraycon.com/smoking. You get 15% off your entire Raycon order. And it's such a good deal, you'll want to buy a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/smoking. Buyraycon.com/smoking. And of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Tradecraft Farms, purveyor of the most delicious, scrumptious, delightful THC and CBD products that exist in California. If you're here in the civilized world, ask for it by name at your legal dispensary or visit one of their brand name dispensaries in the Southern California area. If not, if you're not in California where, you know, we can just have these things, then give them a follow on Instagram, Tradecraft Farms. Tell them your boy, The Smoking Tire, sent you. We appreciate it. Just make us look good. That's all. Just make us look good for the sponsors. We don't ask for much. Just make us look good. All right, on this episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast, that's the crew show. Me and Zach are in studio telling, and oh my God, Zach has a tale. He went on a road trip in a hydrogen car and it did not go well. This is a story and it's ridiculous. Also, Zach drove the new Bronco, talks about that. I drove the Mercedes GLA45, talked about that, and I don't really remember what else we talked about. You guys are going to find out alongside me on this crew show. Welcome to a show. It's 9 in the morning. This is a very early show for us. I had to be here at 7 to drive a client to the airport because we offer airport service at WCCS, and no task too small for the owner. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Right. So yes, I did drive someone to the airport this morning. Fucking was a shit show down there. Oh boy, it was not.
Is it because of the construction?
Construction, plus I think the volume of travelers right now paces the volume of airport employees at all levels. You know what I mean? They don't have the airport running on all cylinders necessarily, but there's like a million. I mean, literally, probably a million people a month going out of LAX. You know?
Oh yeah, I flew American Airlines to go to, where did I just go? Austin for the Bronco launch. And I haven't seen a line for TSA. Like, I mean, it was one of those like around the blocks up the stairs kind of things. Not pre-check was fine. But for anyone else, and they had signs up that were like, American Airlines is, you know, in the process of ramping up for the new demand. Please bear with us. I was like, half these people are not making their flight. Right. I felt really bad.
Yeah. And everyone, you know, people, not to do hacky pandemic material, but like just to touch on it for real quick, people have sort of forgotten how to travel. And so fortunately for Zach and I, we're in the pre-check line where the professionals, you know, before, like my shit was in 2019, my travel habits were fucking dialed. I could pack without using a single brain cell. I could get from the Uber to the gate, from the Uber to the Delta Lounge to the gate, high as balls without being concerned about anything. My whole body was on autopilot. The belt comes off and it goes into here and and you put the thing full on autopilot. Fucking 30 mgs deep, no problem.
Yep.
Man, some people, they didn't have muscle memory for that shit. So going back, even my first couple of flights back, I was like, oh shit. Wait,
I like seeing people that have lots of bracelets and they get buzzed. You know, I mean, I'm talking usually older women that are just gold and other things, and they're like, but this, I have to take this off. You're like, the pieces of metal around your neck as you go through the metal detector?
You know, some of my watches buzz. Some of my watches set it off and some don't.
I just always put them in the backpack. I'm just
I
like,
don't want to
deal with it.
If you do, make sure nobody sees it. But Rob Ferretti had his watch stolen at TSA. I do not recommend taking your watch off at TSA ever.
All right.
Like if it goes off for me and they go out and I go, it might be the watch because the belt's already off, I will make them want me. Like it's like I literally someone yoinked Rob's $10,000 Panerai at TSA.
Wow.
And it's not that hard. It was just right there. And the person just disappeared. He paid a ransom for it. Rob put out a fucking ransom and got the watch back. Because it was an individually numbered watch. So you couldn't, it was like number 861 of 1,000 or whatever. So it's fucking marked. You can't.
Did they find?
You can't fence it anywhere legitimate. You know what I mean?
Did they find someone trying to sell it somewhere? Or was
someone, he said, no questions asked. I'll pay, I don't know, whatever it was, 2 G's, you know, Venmo if you send me the watch.
Oh,
and
wow.
the fucking watch showed up. He got it back.
Wow.
That's, you know, it sucks, but like I don't ever recommend it. But like certain watches I own do not ever set off a metal detector, and other watches I own have a habit of pretty regularly setting them off, and they're all steel watches. They're not. It's not like, you know, well, one's titanium or something like that, or one's composite. They're all steel. So that's kind of interesting. Anyway, Zach, speaking of, we'll forget the fucking flying aspect. More importantly is where we've been going.
Yeah.
We've got we got a lot to go to today. This might be the Zach show because his adventures were more interesting than mine. You got Bronco.
Bronco,
which I'd like to get to, and we waited until the embargo's over so we could actually have a discussion about it with the live people. I'm sure they want to talk about Bronco. I've not driven Bronco, so this is an all Zach affair for the time being. But more importantly, you took a fairly straightforward drive in a hydrogen car.
I did.
It didn't go fucking well.
Fuck!
Do you want some of this Tradecraft Farms before this story?
Should
I go pour you a shot at 9 in the morning?
I mean, I texted you. I was like, we should do a cruise show as soon as I get home. And then I got home the next day. And I was like, I'm going to drink whiskey immediately and do this. So, all right. So I had the Hyundai Nexo press car, right? And we drove the Toyota Mirai.
It's just a little.
It's a crossover.
It's a little egg crossover.
Egg crossover. We had the Mirai.
Big mouth.
I was curious about how this was different, if at all, whatever. And I remember, and I've clipped it out. It's going to go in this show now. So that was foreshadowing, because when I said where I was going last week, you were like, oh, well, what if you run out? And I was like, it should be fine. And you're like, all right, well, we'll do a show when Zach gets back if he doesn't run out of hydrogen. You said this on the podcast.
And then we had to cancel the show we were going to do yesterday because you ran out of hydrogen.
We did.
Was it yesterday or Monday?
Monday.
Yes, it was Monday, sorry.
Yeah.
Whatever the day was, there was going to be a show. Wasn't.
Right. I should pull up this hydrogen stations map. I should have done this before. So, you know, and the reason I felt confident in this is, one, the range of the car is like 360. And then two, when I looked at this map, which I'm pulling up now, which is the list of hydrogen stations in California.
There's really not many when you look in the context of a whole state.
I mean, there's not many in the state, but I was going from SoCal to NorCal, which is where all of them are concentrated. And for people listening, there is a cluster of poker chips in SoCal.
Right.
I mean, it's
right. It looks
dozens.
like the Los Angeles area is playing the San Francisco area in a game of cards.
That's very funny.
And these are their chips. And one person has anteed at the Harris Ranch.
Yes, that's precisely
one chip. One lone poker chip right in the middle of the table between two big fucking piles of poker chips.
And that player knows that it could win a lot of chips for people heading up there.
Because how, like...
And what I did is I was betting on that person's betting. I was staying outside the poker game going, I bet that person's going to win.
You were in a derivative market.
Exactly.
You were
side
in a
betting.
hydrogen derivative fucking market.
I was watching the World Series of Poker, and I was like, my money's on Chris Hellmuth. So I filled up in Santa Monica before we left, and I was like, well, I'll stop here.
And you were going to Santa Cruz.
Going to Santa Cruz
where your
to see
parents,
my folks.
Yeah, where your parents live. And what is that drive?
It's about 372 miles.
Oh my God, that is a really inconvenient range for something that is that stupid to fill up and goes 360.
True. It's just over. And there's no stations in Santa Cruz, which Santa Cruz, as green and liberal as it is, like there's just not the demand there.
Yeah, and that big cluster up around San Francisco's poker chips, that's not actually, Santa Cruz like sounds like it's near San Francisco, but it's actually like 50, 60 miles south. It would be deeply inconvenient to go north to get
It's
fuel.
25 miles from Santa Cruz to the nearest hydrogen station, and boy, is that a story as well. So there's a lot of, so I look at this last week, and I'm like, all right, well, that's what I'm working with. I should have no problem doing this trip.
Yeah.
I've done this trip on a single tank of diesel before in a Volkswagen. I've done it in electric cars, whatever. So I fill up with hydrogen in Santa Monica, drive to Harris Ranch, and the pump's not working. And there's one pump, and there's me and one other person there.
Can we get a little more detail?
For sure.
Not working.
So we're going to get a lot of detail on a lot of these things. Get there, and there's a screen that says, like, currently disabled or currently unavailable, something like that.
Was this person already there when you got there?
Yeah, there was a person already there, and I called tech support because that person left, and then I called tech support, and after like 5 different resets with this person on the phone, they're like, oh, maybe we got to reset a thing. Oh
my God, it's
literally... And it's giving me $1 of hydrogen per try. And this is not a quick, I mean, even at a gas pump, swipe your card, do the thing, cancel, like it takes a few minutes, right? And there's a couple of times where the tech says, all right, wait 10 minutes.
For your $1 of hydrogen.
Wait 10 minutes for something to reset. I'm resetting something. And then at a certain point, he says, can you walk around the building and tell me if you hear the compressor running? And there are multiple semi-trucks idling near me. Multiple. And I'm like, dude, I guess.
Dude,
like,
how is this life? Okay, keep going.
So I am now a hydrogen technician, actually, after this trip.
I'm saying. It's like you're talking about hydrogen pumping. And it's like, do you hear it clicking?
Yeah. Can you get in there? Do you have a hex wrench, sir? Okay, can you go into the building?
Okay, pull off the grate, turn the wing nuts.
I was getting there. So,
oh my God.
So after 6 resets, the guy just goes, we got to send a tech out. Something's wrong. And he couldn't see what was wrong. He saw there was hydrogen in that pump, but that was broken. And so now we had enough range to get to Santa Cruz, but I wasn't sure if we'd have enough to go to Santa Cruz and then in San Jose to fill up, or have to go there
This
first.
is on the way fucking north?
On the way north.
Okay.
So sorry, I
had
had enough to make it from Santa Monica all the way to Santa Cruz, but I was trying to fill up halfway.
Not to the next station.
Right. So that was like, well, how much hydrogen is it going to use? It's hot out. Is it going to use less, more?
Right.
Hypermile.
No, I don't want to Monday morning quarterback this. That's not true. I absolutely want to Monday morning
for sure.
quarterback. Let's go back down to LA's poker chips. If you had headed west out of Los Angeles as opposed to straight up the 5 freeway, what's that? You got a Santa Barbara station. So if you had gone to Santa Barbara, topped off in Santa Barbara, and then headed north from Santa Barbara, would your situation have improved?
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been better.
That would have been an improved situation.
Santa Barbara is 70 miles from LA, so from there to Santa Cruz, I think was like 280.
Oh yeah, okay. So that
would have had
been,
more of a cushion.
Yeah. But of course,
hindsight.
This is a Monday morning quarterback. But
and on Friday, taking the 101 is far worse than the 5 in terms of stop and go traffic.
Right.
Like everyone's going out of town for the weekend, going to the beach.
But like, let's say, let me just again the Monday morning quarterback it. If you found yourself in Santa Barbara, and that station didn't work. Well, you'd have a lot more range left to solve your next problem.
You would, but the only solution there is to drive
to
Harris Ranch, which I looked at because I was thinking of doing that on the way down, and that was like 180.
It's far.
No, it's the way to go around. It was like 200 miles.
Yeah.
So if you got to Santa Barbara with under 200 miles of range, you'd have to go back to Santa
hydrogen
Monica.
providers not looked at this map that we're looking at right now and gone, I see an opportunity.
We're gonna fucking get to it, my friend. Like we're early in this movie.
Okay, wait. So we're still going north. Okay, you're still going north. So tech support.
So tech support says we got to send a tech out, and I go, all right. We're just going to start. I tell my girlfriend, like, we're going to start driving and we'll see how our range is doing. And then I'm going to make a call when we get to 152, whether we're going to Santa Cruz or we're going to San Jose at 10 p.m. at night. Because, by the way, this has taken so long. It's now 6 p.m. I'm sitting at Harris Ranch.
Oh, my God. And your
ETA went
your
from
significant other is extremely patient and extremely adventurous. So patient. How is she doing at this point?
She was chilling. She was along for the adventure the whole time. And even on the way back, like, she just recognized the situation we're in and was like, all right, what are we going to do? And so we get to this intersection and we have plenty of range. I was like, I do the math. I'm like, we have enough range to get to Santa Cruz and then later to drive to San Jose and do nothing else. We will not drive this car in Santa Cruz for 3 days, period.
I mean, that's terrible.
I've never had range anxiety until this. Ever.
It's amazing.
And by the way, there's 12 Tesla Superchargers at Harris Ranch. People are hanging out, having a sandwich. Nobody's checking to see if the pump is on. No one.
Were all those Tesla owners just making fun of this asshole's?
There was enough distance I couldn't hear them, but I did walk by them several times because I had time to kill during pump resets. And I'm just looking at them like, I understand this is early adoption, and there was a time where a lot of people had to wait to charge their electric car. But if you think EVs have range anxiety, you know what's everywhere pretty much? Electricity.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably find a closed gas station in the middle of Arizona, and it might have a 110 you could plug into.
Yeah, but like that will be a problem. Like it is a shitty,
Yeah.
The idea of there being one station 200 miles from the fucking next one. Mm-hmm. And there isn't like a tech living there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
How is there not a permanent tech for this one fucking station?
Because it's the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's Coalinga. It's a town of whatever, 1,000 people.
Can you imagine building out a fuel infrastructure in which you cannot invest in one human to mind this station? Okay, so how long? So you started driving. And you didn't and you didn't drive this fucking thing for 3 days in Santa Cruz. You're rolling your parents' Prius.
Actually, I drove my brother's C-Max around, which was a hybrid plug-in thing.
My brother-in-law has a C-Max.
Ride's nice.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's a good egg.
It's like his surf wagon. He throws his board in the back. He fucking loves that shit.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
So we don't drive the car at all in Santa Cruz.
So now you need to get to San Jose before you drive home,
correct?
Right? And how much range do you have in the vehicle? Can you get to San Jose no problem?
Yeah, no problem. I had 60 miles of range.
All right,
it was 25 miles to the nearest pump. So I go to that pump, and there's another car waiting in line. And then another car pulls up behind me, and I go, interesting, because there's one nozzle. And so this Toyota Mirai is sitting there 10 minutes, and she's just not getting out of the car. So I walk up, I'm very nice. I'm like, hey, is this not working? Is it full? Whatever. Because I looked at this site, by the way, before I set off, because there's so many pumps. Mm-hmm. And 3 of them in that area had question marks or X's on them. This one said it was good. Okay. Because I had learned, obviously, you need to make sure it's online. So I go there, and she goes, oh, no, it's resetting. You just have to wait. And I was like, oh, did you call the people? She goes, yes, I called the people. You just have to wait, and then the screen goes back from unavailable to welcome. And I say, oh, that's true. And I go, all right, well, what's your experience been like with this car? I'm a journalist. I'm curious. Why'd you get it? And she goes, I hate this thing. She's got
this is a new Mirai or an old one?
A new Mirai. It's got dealer plates on it. And she says, I hate this thing. My friend talked me into it. The incentives were really good, which, by the way, in California are only, I think, $4,500 now. You can get $7,000 back if you're like a commercial fleet of some kind. But trust me, $4,500 is not worth
a Mirai
this trouble.
Like $60,000.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's still an expensive car, and it's not like they're handing you $20,000. I mean, now maybe there's cash on the hood.
Don't they give you the free fuel, the free fill-up?
They do. They give you the free card, and we know why. Yeah. They give you the free card, which I don't think the press car had, by the way. So
turns out a box of shit's a box of shit, even if it's free.
I mean, if I give you a card that says, hey, Matt, if you buy this car, you get free kryptonite. And you go, where's kryptonite? And I say, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's free.
Yeah.
So
if you're giving someone a free chore, that's not a gift.
It's
okay. So
it's incentivized.
Did you get fucking hydrogen at this place or what?
Well, this is part of the problem. I say, why'd you get it? She said, well, when I was at the dealership, they told me there were so many stations, one of which was right by my house. So she buys the car, and then she goes to the one by her house, and it says permit pending. Station's not open. And when you look at this map, and
God.
I looked at it closer.
Different colors mean?
Yeah.
There's different colors. There's like 3, I mean, I'm colorblind, but you can help me.
So there's
3 or 4 different
purple,
colors,
green,
right?
yellow, blue. Some are operated by different companies. Like this purple, it says station type, retail, proposed. Expected to open, no date.
Oh, God.
Station website, visit.
All right, what does that other color mean?
This is a gray
Expected
one.
to open under review.
Right, so this one's built
Holy shit, this
under
station
review.
has been, temporarily removed from the site pending a return to online status.
Right.
Holy shit, okay.
Yellow.
Retail permitting. So only green?
So only green. And the green ones, by the way.
Green is like probably half?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I would say half of these 20 or so.
And oh my
chips,
God, you click this one, they're both offline.
Exactly. And this
station is out of fuel, expecting next delivery
this
at
was
noon.
This was offline on Sunday. Now it's possible it went back online and then ran out again. I don't know. But on Sunday when I went there, this was a mile from the station I was at. I called the tech. I said, I'm sitting here. This person's waiting. Is this broken? Can I go to the nearby one? They said, in your area, the one you're at is the only one that works.
This is insanity.
So, but I got a education from the person on the phone, who, by the way, I would end up speaking to 4 different times because I think he's the only person that works at tech support there. And I say, what's...
You know how when you ever notice in a Lotus Evora, when you open the trunk, the hatch in the back, the customer service number, it's like a Lotus customer service phone number there, and it has a dude's fucking name printed on it. It's like, call Stewart, customer service. It's a guy's fucking, it's like one guy.
Is it his phone number
The
at
whole
home?
company.
I hope
it's like an 800 number, but I swear to God, it's got a guy's fucking name on it. This is like that.
Yeah. This... It sucked. It's so hard for me to like...
It's like, oh, you call back and get me. It's like, do you have an extension number? It's like, no, you don't even worry about it. Just like, just ask for Steve. I'll be here.
So... The station mat is run by True Zero. The one I went to in Santa Monica, by the way, is a different company. I can't remember which one. It had a different nozzle design, etc. So I talked to the woman in front of me.
There's some that have like Shell.
Yeah,
right?
There's some operated by Shell.
Do you think those work better?
The owners behind me, I asked them what their experience was. They had a Clarity. And this woman, you could feel the anger welling up. And she was like, this company, always broken. She's like, we've gone to Shell. They work fine. We've gone to these other ones. They work fine. But True Zero, she's like, the stations are always offline. Something's always wrong with them. The computers go down. Something like that. And True Zero is also the company that operates the one in Harris Ranch. Now I've learned more about this. It's possible that she was just having issues that she's having because of the hydrogen itself. But her story was, we've only had problems with True Zero. And never in their time where they live have all 4 True Zero stations been operational at the same time when they've looked at their maps. She's like, it's always 1 but 3 are down, or this one but the other 3 are down, something like that.
What is it about the transferring of hydrogen from big tanks to small tanks that is so fucking difficult?
Okay, so it's really interesting. When I went down to Harris Ranch later, I had to talk to the guy.
Wait, did you end up, before we get back to Harris Ranch, did you end up filling up at this fucking place or what?
Yeah, so after 45 minutes.
Holy shit, you could have been on a charger and gone the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for the person in front of me to fill. Then I had to wait for the pump to reset. And then I was able to get enough. And I look at it and I go, okay, I now have 220 miles. It's 160 or whatever it is to Harris Ranch. I knew that Santa Barbara was like 280 or whatever. So I went, okay, well, do I want to wait here for 40 more minutes and let these people go and then I go and then go to Santa Barbara? Or do I just want to go back to Harris Ranch? Yes, it burned me before, but they told me that it was getting fixed. And when I talked to the guy in tech support,
Steve said it was okay.
Steve was like, I was like, is Harris Ranch okay? He's like, Harris Ranch is fine.
Okay.
Which is important. So I get hydrogen. We cruise down. We get to Harris Ranch. There's a red Mirai sitting in front of me, and the guy is on the phone. Never a good look. He's on the phone.
Oh, no.
And I say, what's up? And he said, they say it's out of hydrogen. And the truck comes tomorrow at noon. and I just screamed behind my eyes.
Did you call back Steve?
Sure fucking did.
Did you find out exactly what time it ran out of hydrogen? Was it in between?
It literally. I called back. I was really mad because I was like, I was told this, blah blah blah, and they got.
I literally just drove into the middle of Central California, away from civilization, based on advice from a living, breathing human.
Yeah, not a robot. And it's funny because when you first call True Zero, the first person you talk to just listens to your grievance and then says, I'll transfer you.
Yeah.
And they transfer me, and I heard the guy's voice, and I was like, did I talk to you 2 hours ago in Campbell? And he went, yeah, I think so. And I was like, all right, man, well, here's what's going on. Like, I'm a little upset, but maybe you have a reason. And he's like, when you left Campbell, the tank in Harris said there was 20% left in the big tank. And he's like, we had 40 plus customers come through in those 2 hours. Like, I'm really sorry. We can't predict how many people are on the road, but that's what happened. So like he sent me in the right direction based on what he knew. And then I just, whatever happened, a lot of hydrogen cars came through and drained the tank.
Wow.
So I'm walking around looking like legit. I do the math. I can't make it to Santa Barbara.
But this is their fault though, because it takes so little from this company to keep its one station in the middle of nowhere topped off. Even if you had to send a truck to fill the tank from half twice as often.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a fucking cheap thing. I mean, how penny smart and dollar foolish is this company?
I don't know.
That is so crazy. That same thing. One maintenance guy, one refill truck for a fucking giant petrochemical company. This is not, well, not petro, excuse me, but a fuel provider.
Yeah.
On a statewide level, like one fucking truck. Like this is absurd.
And
that
I don't
it
know
would
how
run
often
out
they
and the
send
next
the
one
trucks.
wouldn't be there for a day. I
know.
mean, you're not more than 2 hours from a major city. How is the next one not there in 3 hours?
He's like, I'm going to try to see if we can get one sent out. He's like, we can't schedule them earlier than they're going for whatever reason. I mean, it was, it was also it was Sunday. It was Sunday at 5 p.m.
Fuel is a 7-day-a-week business.
It is, but I'm sure gasoline gets delivered on a certain schedule unless there's something going on. It's probably just far more common. It's
their fault. Obviously, if stations run out, if you're talking to people who've experienced stations running out, if there's a known problem of stations running out, that is the simplest. Hydrogen is the most abundant element. Your sales pitch, your whole sales pitch is this is the most abundant element in the universe, and you can't put it from a big tank to a small tank at a fucking rate that your customers need it. Like, how bad at business are you?
It needs an alert when it hits 40, and it's like, send truck now.
Yeah.
And then
if
it's
it can go from 20 to 0 in 2 hours, if that's even within the realm of possibility, that truck needs to be there in 1 hour.
Yeah, I think there's a predictive. I bet during COVID they had like nobody, and now it's same as American Airlines thing. It's like all of a sudden people are driving and they're like, fuck, we got to ramp this back up again. But I am literally walking around this parking lot at Shell looking for car transporters. There was a Tesla transporter that had one open spot, and if I had found that driver, I was going to be like, hey, I'll give you $300 to put our car on your hauler.
Oh my God, imagine the photo.
The photo
imagine the photo
Hyundai,
of this thing on the back
Tesla
of a
would have
truck
loved it,
full
and
of
Hyundai would have hated
Teslas.
it. Yeah.
Wow.
It would have been amazing. But I couldn't make it to the nearest station was in North LA. Couldn't make it there. I was 40 miles shy for range. So I was either going to have to drive, come up 40 miles shy, and then get a AAA, or wait till noon the next day. And I was like, I'm not driving and stopping in the middle of the night. And then I was like, we're going to get a hotel and spend.
You're at Harris
Now
Ranch.
we're spending $220 because for a hotel plus
hotel, meat,
food.
wine. And you're stuck somewhere where, if you've never been to Harris Ranch, it's understandable why this situation would be the way that it is. The smell of feces is so overbearing because it's a giant fucking slaughterhouse. That's what it is. And there's just cow shit and cows being slaughtered everywhere. And so you can't just, like, if you're there for 24 hours, it's like inescapable cow shit.
And Harris Ranch owns the largest beef producer, I think, in the area. You think they'd be priced like that, but they know they're the only game in town.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you want a basic steak? It's like $40 to $50.
Is the hydrogen price like that too?
Hydrogen's expensive.
Is it more expensive there than other places?
I don't know.
Like when you drive up PCH to
same.
Big Sur, right, and you go through San Simeon,
right?
There's the one gas station, right, and it's like 120 miles either way, right, or whatever it is. It's far enough either fucking way that if you need gas there, you need gas there, and it's like $8. Because fuck you, that's why.
Right, it's like race gas at a racetrack.
Yeah. And there's another, what's the other station like that? Death Valley, Furnace Creek.
Oh, yeah.
Those play that, you know, because fuck you, because you're in literal a place called Death Valley. And if you need gas, fuck you.
And I mean, some of that supply demand, like getting it out to Death Valley probably costs
some
money.
Some of it is, and other of it is.
Right, opportunity.
Demand.
Yeah. We demand you give us more money.
We demand if you'd like to not die in the desert, you know. But okay, so you had to you stayed and waited for the truck that was going to be there at noon. And was it?
Truck was there at 12:05. And so I watched the truck park, and I walk up to the guy. Goes, "Hey, how's it going? And how long is it going to take you to transfer the hydrogen?" And he says like 1 to 2 hours, and I almost just laughed and shit my pants. And I was like, "Well, do I have to wait 2 hours?" And he's like, no, you can start going once I hit 15 minutes. But when I got there in the morning, there were 2 cars in front of me already. Oh, God. And I know about all this stuff. But what this guy did, he's been driving hydrogen he's like, I've been doing this longer than pretty much anybody in the business. And he was very nice, and he explained why all these delays happen. So the reason between cars, there are 2 complaints I'd heard about and experienced. One, sometimes when I would hook up, it would only give me 20 miles of range, you know, even in Santa Monica. And then the other one is this delay where it's like unavailable, and then suddenly the welcome screen returns. He said the way this works is there's a really big tank here. That tank fills another tank in this building. That's where you get your hydrogen from. But because it's a pressurized system, if your hydrogen tank in your car has, let's say, 5,000 PSI, just for a number, and that tank has 10,000, it's going to equal to 7,500.
It's like filling a tire. Yeah, okay.
So if your tank, you can't go to 100 if you don't let this other larger tank go far beyond what the pressure is inside your tank, because it's just going to equalize, right? Like it doesn't have a pump that compresses and inflates you. It's like 2 balloons, right?
It does not have a compressor.
Right. There's no hand squeezing the balloon to overinflate your balloon.
This doesn't seem like a good system.
It's just the nature of the thing.
It is? You can't pump hydrogen. You can only equalize pressure from one tank to another?
I'm sure they can pump it, but maybe the system that delivers the hydrogen to a car has to be such for safety or whatever, or engineering reasons. So that's why you have to wait. He's like, if you want to go from 0, or actually from 50 to full, from half to full, it's more challenging than from 0 to full. You have to wait a longer amount of time so that all this pressure builds up in this filling tank so that it can it can add all the hydrogen to your car's tank.
But it doesn't know that until you plug it in?
That's the annoying thing. There's no gauge. There's nothing on the screen that says, hey, person who owns a hydrogen car, here's how the system works. So I talked to 4 different people on this trip, none of whom knew how the engineering system works. None of them knew, oh, that's why this is disabled. They just show up and see
and the
pump
screen
unavailable.
Doesn't say disabled? No. It doesn't say, hey, waiting for pressure to equalize, wait 15 minutes.
It just says unavailable. And then 10 minutes later, it magically says welcome.
There are so many UI fails in this system.
Right.
I mean, there's just an unbelievable amount of failure to inform your customer how the very basics of this system.
So that's the science behind why this is all taking so long.
More convenient delivery system. This is
if
that system you described is working as designed, it's incredibly inconvenient.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not like a gas. It's described as it's just like a gas pump. It's definitely not.
If you show up
fucking force-fed
and no one's been there for an hour, then it's like a gas pump. You plug it in, it fills really quickly, it does it automatically, it turns off, and you unplug.
But the busier it is, the worse it works. Is a fucking horrible way to fill up a car.
Yeah.
At peak hours, it's going to work worse. That's shit.
And what I was told some other amazing things. This guy, so sometimes the pump handle, depending on the exterior temperature, can get really, really cold because there's all this compressed gas going through it. Like it gets frosty. And I said, I mentioned that, and he goes, oh yeah, if that happens, sometimes it can stick the collar, like it will hard to come off. So he's like, you can wait 2 minutes, the ice melts, and it comes off. He said dealerships in the beginning were telling people to carry water with them to pour on it to melt. He's like, don't do that because it'll make a giant ice cube, which is hilarious. And by the way, what a thing that, like, when you buy a car, does the dealership say, hey, just when you fill up, keep a couple of things with you?
Keep some antifreeze and also a bucket underneath to catch it.
Do you have your filling bucket?
Sometimes you got to pee on it.
Yeah, and the guy goes, don't bring water. What you should have is a towel. And my brain's like, no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't have to bring a towel to fill this up. I don't need to bring things from home.
Oh, my God.
The towel should be mounted to this.
This makes even driving a non-Tesla EV on a road trip seem simple and convenient.
Yes, which they've built. If you bought a Tesla like 8 years ago, it was probably a pain, but now it's easy.
No,
you know?
Yeah, Tesla's network is fucking great. But even a non-Tesla, even a Mach-E road trip, for sure, comparison to this is like a walk in the park.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
That's fucking so crazy.
So I sat there. I have a time lapse. Like, this is all going to go in the video. An hour and a half after that truck showed up, we were finally underway, right? Because we had to watch all these people. You obviously I was getting the updates the day before about, okay, well we're sitting here and gonna eat steak and fucking whatever until this truck shows up at noon tomorrow, and then the next time I heard from you was at 1:57 p.m. that you were finally on the way, and I was like, well, that doesn't sound like 12, does it? That sounds like 2. That's when you're in the middle of nowhere at a fucking motel. That 2 hours is a long 2 hours. I was just shooting time lapse, and I watched this guy, this very nice hydrogen gas delivery guy, do the same gestures. I was like across the parking lot, and to each driver he was doing the same.
Oh, he's got a spiel.
Yeah, he's like a teacher, which this needs. It shouldn't, but it needs him. And I'm watching him do these hands and these things, and from a distance. And then when I went up and talked to him, when I felt he started doing the hands, like, oh, he just told this to everybody else too. And yeah, and then we finally got home.
What a nightmare!
And on there's a sticker. So Jason Fensky, Engineering Explained, did a video about hydrogen recently, and kind of debunked this idea that it's cleaner right now than gasoline. Yes, the emissions are water, which is good, and it is the most abundant element in the universe. But until we start making hydrogen through like electrolysis using sustainable energy, right now most of it's made from natural gas. And he read a report that said the process of extracting and creating hydrogen in current methods, like the way it's mostly done right now, emits far more greenhouse gases than creating gasoline and then driving a car that gets 25 miles per gallon.
Oh,
and they have a sticker on the pump that says,
warns you of that?
No. It's really amazing. It's got 4 fuel sources. It says hydrogen, EV, gasoline, and future hydrogen. And it shows, your face just dropped, and that's right.
Hydrogen on the pump. The hydrogen
on the pump. There's a sticker that
says hydrogen, gasoline, EV, and future hydrogen.
Yes.
Okay. And
so it says, like, here's your miles per gallon. Here's basically what it's trying to show is here's the amount of greenhouse gas used to make this and the source of it. So the hydrogen right now, it was like 63% made from natural gas, blah, 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 blah. Gasoline right now, greenhouse gas is about 63%.
Right.
EV, it said most of the electricity source, it like varies a lot. Is it coal?
State by state, right?
State by state. Future hydrogen, it was like 0%. So it's like, hey, one day, if we make hydrogen using solar power, then yes, it will be. And you know what? If that was the reality we lived in, sure, that would be cool. But it's not right now.
That's not how things work.
It's not. And I feel so bad for some of the people that, like, some of the people love their car. They're like, it's reliable. They like it.
We've had a couple people come on the show, like people who work in the automotive industry, and talk about how they like their hydrogen car. Now, maybe they just run around town and they live near the Torrance Shell station,
right? And
it always works, and there's always hydrogen there, and it's not a problem, and that's nice for them. But like, this story is like so far off the deep end for what would in a gas car be like a not think anything of anything.
Totally.
In a Tesla, not really think about it at all. You know what I mean? Multiple opportunities to charge fast all over the place.
Right.
In a regular EV, certainly there's enough opportunities where you don't have to drive to fucking you could charge somewhere in the city of Santa Cruz.
Yeah, there's chargers there.
And not to mention the car would be plugged in at your destination the entire time you're there anyway. You've got a portable charger. And so when it's just sitting, it's trickling.
Yeah, we charged my brother C-Max overnight. He just ran an extension cable.
Like, you know, I don't know. I think maybe that the hydrogen people haven't realized they lost yet. I think maybe they lost.
Either they lost or we're still so early. Like, I do appreciate the idea of you can show up and get this fuel in 4 minutes if all the pumps are working fine and da-da-da-da. Like, hydrogen can move faster
even
than
after
electricity.
that, it's an expensive fill-up.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, a fill-up in my quote fill-up in my Mach-E is like, it's like at my house, it's like $4.
Yeah.
You know, yes, it's $30 if I go to a 150 kilowatt charger and go, you know, blast it up. Sure, yes, it is. It's a little cheaper than gas, but it still costs money. But it's super cheap to keep that thing charged at my house. I literally don't notice the difference in my power. If there's a difference, I don't know it.
$70 to $80.
That's expensive.
I mean, it was. Yeah.
That's the cost of a tank of gas. So like,
which again, supply and demand. Like, not that many people buy hydrogen cars.
No.
It's not being made that much. So, of course,
and
the
you
price is
can
going to be high.
buy really comfortable, fuel-efficient gas cars, too. I mean, you can buy hybrids that get 40 miles a gallon. You can buy diesels if you're, you know, that get really, really good fuel economy. Dude, you can get a
Honda Accord gas car that gets like 38.
Yeah.
I mean, they've gotten so efficient now.
Yeah.
I understand like the optimism in an ideal world. It only emits water, and if we can get it, you know, using solar power, da-da-da-da. But right now, I think my takeaway was I don't understand why you would buy a hydrogen car right now unless your company gets a huge tax break or you live in even if you live in the city. I was trying to think of like who is the perfect buyer for this? Like, if you're a runaround salesman around the city, are you driving more than 300 miles a day so you can't use an EV? Or is there a reason that the hydrogen is better than a hybrid?
You might be able to make a mathematical case for like driving Uber Premium or something like that. You know what I mean? There might be some kind of mathematical case for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they give you the free gas card, and I think it's a very specific person and or company that this really makes sense for. But for most people, and I met normal people. No one, I think for them it's really challenging. No one had a happy. No one else
was doing this for science. Everybody else was just living their life, and they were suffering the same bullshit you were.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, and the cars aren't cheap. I mean, the Tech's Advance. Of course, the cars aren't cheap. And the Nexo, by the way,
dude, if you didn't,
is a very nice car.
Work like for me, if you had like a regular job, that fuck up. Not your fuck up, True Zero's fuck up. That costs you, you know, you get fired or something because the company didn't have fucking. You know
I won't
mean?
be there tomorrow because this pump is out of fuel.
Yeah, like how. Yeah. I just don't understand how nobody has figured out that maybe we need to do like a little more coverage on this corridor, like a little.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna be busy.
It's not like you know, and I know like. EV chargers can go down and whatnot, like that happens. But like you said, power is pretty ubiquitous in this country. We're pretty consistent. You plug something in, it's going to turn on.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
The fact that these things are like, great, okay, now we know why it's annoying to fill multiple cars in a row at a hydrogen station. Why can't you fill the fucking the big tank faster? Like why is it running out entirely? Like that's just crazy.
Right. Why does it take 10 minutes to go from big tank to medium tank before it goes to your tank? Because that's a really long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
and why is the big tank running out? There's this many levels of fucking flow, and you're still running out. Stop. How about stop running out? I
was so sad and angry when I got there and it was out. I was really pissed. And then I talked to the guy and I felt better, but fuck, I was mad for a little while because I thought I had just been lied to. And I'm curious, like, if people comment or I want to know if other companies have the same tank filling issue or if it's a True Zero design. Like, I don't want to say True Zero are idiots for that. If that's how the whole system works, and if they are the only ones that have that problem, like, and it's not just you know, this woman's story, like, then they do have a problem. But not having a gauge, because you have a screen, not having it say, here's what's happening. Because people are just waiting and they don't know why.
Yeah.
So they're just getting mad going,
insane.
why is this always broken? When they don't know it's a physics problem. Tell them why it's doing this. I think that would be better than having people just be mad.
Yeah.
You know?
And plus, how much of Steve's time gets wasted on the phone?
A lot. I talked to him 3 times. I know his voice. I was like, oh yeah, you're from NorCal. Yeah.
We should ask. Man, we should
ask.
ask.
Like Rowan or something.
I wish
like
we got that fucking truck driver's like business card. That would have been a guy to get on the show.
I know where to find him. Yeah.
Go sit out at Cole.
He was a cool dude.
Let's sit there Tuesdays at noon. Cole
a big square truck called Air something. He was very helpful.
PMM, our representation, has an Airstream podcast studio. They keep being like, you want to use Airstream for something? I think it's just sitting around. Should we go out there, just sit out there and wait for this guy?
We should do road shows. And if you listening think we should do that,
we can
comment
do road
on the
shows.
show. Let's
the
do
reason
that.
we didn't do road shows was really because of pandemic.
Right.
We have the opportunity to do road shows if we wanted.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get them to do something with Austin, Formula One, you know.
We could tow it to Grid Life in a month.
I'm sure if we wanted to, we could. It would not be hard.
It's just sitting there.
It's just there. Yeah, we can get it.
So that stuff, a condensed version of that will be in the review for the Nexo, which is a very comfortable car.
Did you actually did you make a video of this?
I did a lot of like Instagram video stuff, which I'll just drop in the middle and kind of document like time lapse of how long it took to fill all that shit.
What a fucking
but you know, comfy egg, nice looking interior, just don't be an early adopter on this. Just really don't, unless, I don't know, if it financially benefits you, great. But really make sure you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fucking horrible.
And so Sarah the whole time is like laughing, I'm laughing, we're making silly content. Like, what are you going to do? You got to make the best of it. And we get home and she just looks at me and she goes, never again.
Yeah.
Never
yeah.
again.
Because it's not like, you know, I've been inconvenienced by stuff for, like, you know, you drive an old car on a road trip or something and you got to make certain concessions. It's hot. There's no air conditioning, you know, what have you. But, like, to just be stranded at the fucking Harris Ranch, I mean, every leg of that journey sucked. Like, every you had 3 attempts to put hydrogen in that thing. And
the Santa Monica one was fine.
Yeah.
And but that was the first one. And after that, every one of them had a problem that took at least
an hour,
30 minutes to an hour and a half to solve.
Nope.
Yeah. Nope.
I'm gonna have a nope. Hard nope on that.
I'm gonna get a bicycle.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Should we talk about the GLA Mercedes, or should we talk about and then come back to Bronco?
Yeah. Let's talk GLA Mercedes.
GLA45 Mercedes. It's an interesting thing, right? Because it starts at 55 grand. The one I drove was 68 grand, fully loaded. There's a couple options you could definitely skip, like the little canards, the dive planes. Those we don't need those, and the two-tone interior you could probably skip. Couple options you definitely want to have. AMG Dynamic Pack gives you all the drive modes, gives you adaptive dampers, and gives you 6-piston brakes instead of 4-piston brakes.
How much is that package?
3,500 or $4,000.
Oh,
you want
it.
You want it. You definitely want it.
Wow.
So you know the one you want is like in the low 60s. That's really where you want it. Good things, you know, hand built AMG engine, 2-liter, 382 horsepower, 191 horsepower per liter. That's Ferrari, McLaren numbers of specific output.
Yeah.
Between 3 and 7,000 RPM, this thing rips. It is really good fun. And because it's the GLA and not the CLA, you've got a couple extra inches of suspension travel. And with the adaptive shocks, you can make it pretty soft. You know, you got good tires. They were Yokos. They were pretty decent, but 21 inches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they call it a compact crossover. It's really like if you had made the wheel arches to fit 18s and made it a little lower and put less travel on it, it would be a hatchback, right? But because it's on 21s and has a little more ride quality, it's a compact crossover. But fundamentally, that's where we're at, right?
It looks like it's got some ride height to it.
It does, a little bit.
Okay.
It's got some, but not adjustable or anything. But like it's got clearance. And so, you know, it's the things I didn't like about the first GLA were that it felt really cheap on the inside, and the gearbox, the dual clutch gearbox, was like super mushy. In an automatic mode, it could never decide what gear to be in, and then the gear changes were just mushy. Whereas PDK, which is Porsche's gearbox, is the benchmark here. Its smoothness is achieved by crispness. The shifts are very crisp. They're precise.
Right.
It's not smooth because it's mushy. You know what I mean?
Yes. These feel like there's a mini gear between the gears. Is that kind of like a bridge?
Well, the last one, the new one with the 8-speed dual clutch is the best. Other than the AMG GT, that's the best dual clutch I've felt from Mercedes. It's like really
good,
crisp,
great.
Not mushy at all, very responsive, very smooth, launches over and over without no special modes, just as long as it's in, max whatever, just and just go. Very good gearbox tuning, really good all-wheel drive system tuning, pretty good brakes. It's 3,600 pounds. The brakes are adequate. And the steering is pretty direct. It's nice to drive, actually. And the faster you go, the harder you drive it, the more fun it gets. It's not super fun to drive around the city. A car that had a V6 or a V8 that was a little more relaxed would be better to cruise around the city. This is a little off boost. It has nada. And then it goes zing, you know what I mean?
Right.
So if you keep it in boost, it's great. It's super fun. You're mobbing really, really fast. I made a lot of people pull out of my way. But out of boost, it's meh. And if you leave it in comfort mode, it gets very lazy and it hunts gears and skips gears. So I set the individual mode to like sport powertrain comfort suspension kind of thing. And it did a better job there. But it's still it's not super fun in town. It's only okay in town. It's fun when you're mobbing. It's like a little, like a little rally car.
It's like Focus RS kind of fun. Like that's not the funnest around town car.
It's like that, okay. Yeah. But it's a lot more comfortable than the Focus RS.
The
seats are not the best that Mercedes has ever done. Mercedes seats, like the GLC has 63 has way better seats than this GLA45 does. This is like it's got a nicely trimmed leather on the economy car seats. They're not the best. For a Mercedes, which is a bad Mercedes is pretty good for a lot of other companies. They're not terrible, but it's not the best Mercedes has done.
They're like overly firm cushions.
The butt cushion is a little small and lacks thigh bolstering, and the seat back looks like it has lateral bolstering, but the lateral bolstering isn't firm enough. And so I found myself bracing against the door and hanging on the wheel much more than I wanted to. Much more so than like the X3M, and granted that's more, but these seats are not sporty enough to handle the level of grip that the car can.
Gotcha.
So you're kind of hanging on.
Yeah, you're driving like a motorcycle rider.
A little bit, yeah. And I had some trouble with the CarPlay connectivity. You can see in this photo that we've got pulled up that there was a USB-C port, and so I had my regular USB plugged into a dongle, which was then plugged into USB-C. But if I moved the phone at all, it would disconnect from CarPlay. It was a little frustrating. I don't know if it was other hardware, but I've used that other hardware in other vehicles and didn't have the same problem.
Gotcha.
The best things about it are the powertrain. And the fact that it's got a lot of headroom and legroom and a big, hatchback trunk. If you had an STI or an Evo or a Focus RS or a Golf R and you wanted to go half a step up but still keep that fizzy rally car feeling, this is what that would be.
Golf R is a lot less money actually than this.
The Golf R is a lot less money, but this is significantly faster out of the box than a Golf R. I mean, this engine is a there's nothing wrong. I like a Golf R, don't get me wrong. It's a really nice car for the money, and I recommend them to people a lot. This does feel like a step up from that in terms of, crispness. The engine feels hotter and fizzier. you know, and it feels like it feels like there's more going on there. You know, the Golf R 2-liter is good, but not particularly exciting until you start doing shit to it. This is a pretty exciting engine out of the box. It does a couple little pops and bangs, but not too many. It has a nice throttle or spark cut sound when you shift up. The dum dum. It has a. It's not farty. That's cool. Like the Golf. It's more cracky, like almost like a McLaren, which I prefer.
Yeah.
And you know, it does feel like an AMG product. I mean, we ask ourselves often, what if Porsche built a real hatchback? What if, you know, BMW built a real hatchback? What if AMG built a real hatchback? You know, this is what if AMG, you know, granted, we don't get the A45 in America. Sorry. Yeah. And the CLA sucks. You know, a slopey roof product in a small sedan like that is you just have a useless back seat. I like the GLA the best. And there is a GLA45S in Europe, which has even more power.
Whoa.
We don't get it. So yeah, the basic, you know, I would get it, I would get the AMG dynamic package, and I could pretty much leave the rest of it alone. You know, I liked
the back seat. Did you try to sit in the back seat?
I did. The back seat is not particularly roomy if you were behind me.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. You're tall.
But I've set the seat for like a more regular person, and you could fit 2 5'10" people. You know,
that's pretty. All right, that's pretty good.
It's all right. It's not tiny, and I think it makes good use of the space. It has good storage, and you know, it has things are pretty well laid out. You know, it has that touchpad thing, which is awful, but it also has a touch screen, so it gives you kind of redundant options for doing stuff.
That's if they can make redundancy, like the Nexo had so many hard buttons, and it was a touchscreen, and it had a scroll knob. It was like, however you want to control things, just sure, buy the car.
Yeah,
like so that's great.
I think overall I enjoyed it. I don't think I would buy it, but I do think that if you like the idea of rally cars and you are lamenting your relative lack of choices and lack of premium choices, this is about the most premium that a rally car gets.
Yeah, and Webb has had his for
years. We got a friend who has a first gen and really likes his and has had no problems with it.
Wow, it's got some. That's a 35. Never mind. I was like, that has some legit ground clearance.
Yeah, there's a 30. They also have a 35. The difference in the 35 and the 45 is more than you'd think. The engine is actually turned the other way around. The 35 has the turbo in front of the engine and the intake in the back. The 45 has it the other way around.
Oh, interesting.
To get more cooling into the intake in front and keep the turbo spooled up in the hot part behind it.
Okay.
So it's a completely different powertrain with the 35 to the 45. It really feels like an AMG product. It doesn't just feel like they tarted one up. Now in some ways, you know, it still feels a little entry level. You know what I mean? Some of the materials, but I enjoyed it. And now, Zach went to Austin to drive the Bronco, and then after this, we will get to your questions. So Bronco.
I went to drive the Bronco for Haggerty. Season 2 of Rated kicked off with the Bronco launch, and then we take a 2-week break, and then the next episode airs. I'm in all of the episodes this year. With my co-host is Dio Shahara, except this event because he was racing up Pikes Peak. Again, because he's a psychopath.
Yeah, a bunch of our friends, by the way, did pretty well at Pikes Peak.
I got Batim coming on next week, I think.
Batim's team won like multiple podiums.
Yeah.
Tanner won his class.
Yeah, sweet.
You know, Randy won his class.
Cam Ingram got P2 in that class with Tanner, I think.
Yeah. Did Jeff Zwart race, or did he only coach this year?
I think he coached Cam and other people, but
yeah,
he was involved in like the GT4 Club Sport.
And who the fuck am I forgetting? I'm forgetting someone else.
Did Rob Holland run again?
I don't know if that was who I'm thinking of, but
well, Popst and Unplugged Performance.
They did. Yeah,
they set a record in the Plaid.
They did well. And who the fuck else am I thinking about? I'm literally blank. I don't know.
Not
Lee.
No, but he got third place at his race in Watkins.
I don't even. I'll think of it at the absolute wrong time. But a lot of our friends did very well at Pikes Peak.
The conditions, I guess, they closed the top section because of weather.
Yeah, it was short course.
Yeah,
right?
it was short course.
Everyone's running short course.
But Tim's going to come on and talk all about it.
Cool.
I want to see what he learned from last year. So watch Rated on Haggerty. The Bronco, they're going to sell 1 billion of these things. I mean, like, credit where it's due. They did a really good job analyzing the market and what the people in that market like Jeep people, off-road people, outdoor people. So this is so customizable. So are Jeeps, right? I mean, but they did it they found holes. Like the doors thing was a big story. You know, you can take the doors off and store them in the car. It's because they're pillarless doors, so the windows go down in the door. You store it, whereas with a Jeep,
it's a full frame door.
It's a full frame door. It's also harder to take off in the Jeep. This is 2 bolts and then a clever little plug that has a cover that flaps shut that's supposed to be waterproof, but the one I saw didn't seal very well. But with Jeep, it's like a different wire and 3 different bolts, and it's just a little bit more complicated. So they simplified that. It's got these cool toe straps on top where you can, like, if you have a canoe on the roof, you can tie it to those things instead of the bumper, so it doesn't fuck your paint up.
Yeah, that's good.
And
top mount tow hooks is good.
Yeah, it's cool, and they're sight lines for the fenders, which is nice.
Oh, that too.
For where your tires are. The big thing is that on the road, it's much better than the last Wrangler I drove, and I know that
the last Wrangler I drove, which is the current Wrangler, is atrocious on the road. I mean, really, truly, a miserable, and I'm talking about, I drove that $60-something thousand Gladiator,
right,
and it was atrocious.
And they've gotten a lot better.
That's brand new.
I mean, I drove like an 08 Wrangler as a valet, and I was like, how come the steering wheel's not connected to the wheels?
Oh, dude, my girlfriend in high school had, she drove a Chrysler LeBaron, which is its own level of shitbox, but her family had one of those knockaround cars, because us rich white folks from Westchester, the family had a knockaround cars. That happened a lot, right?
Yeah.
Or the sitter would drive it, or the maid, or whatever. It was just an extra car. And it was a 1998 Wrangler Sport 4-cylinder manual. Dangerous at any speed.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, at low speed, you're going to die from the fucking brakes. At high speed, you're going to die from the sway.
The wobble.
You know what I mean?
I was reading David Tracy's article, like the Wranglers are known for speed wobbles and this weird death wobble thing. And their steering system is different than, it's not a rack and pinion. It's this crazy, knuckle to thing to thing. It's a Rube Goldberg experiment of steering. Yeah. And that's part of why they have so little feel. And they've gotten so much better. Like, credit to Jeep. The new ones are way better than the one 5 years ago, and way better than the one 5 before that. But because this has IFS, it also
it's one of those things where their customers prefer it worse. I'm not a Wrangler customer. I don't think, improving the Wrangler for me would be like Harley Davidson inventing the V-Rod, and the rest of the customers being like, fuck is that?
I don't think people like it
bullshit.
Bad. I think people defend the thing they like. I think they like enough of the Wrangler that if you say that's bad, that you go, yes, but it's because it's live axle in the front, which is more durable, gets better articulation than IFS, Yeah. So that's the big discussion that'll happen. This has independent front suspension, and it has a normal electronic assisted rack and pinion steering. So on the highway, I got
regular
in it and
old steering.
It drove like a car. I forgot that I was driving what I was driving when I was on the highway, because I didn't have to pay attention. I didn't have to hold the wheel with 2 hands and look for the wiggles like I do in the Wrangler. It just cruised. What it does do poorly, though, is if you hit the brakes in a turn at like 60, it dives and then turns into the turn noticeably. Yeah. I was like, whoa,
remember that was what that
this?
Hummer did? Remember in the video, the mil-spec Hummer, when I stood on the brakes?
Yeah, you jump on the
funky
brake.
Shit?
It does that.
Yeah.
So I don't think they can program that out with production cars, but that was the only unsettling thing it did in terms of on-road manners. But I
drove the 4 and the 6?
I only drove the 6-cylinder. I drove 3 different 6-cylinders.
It's a 2.7?
2.7.
Does it feel fast?
Oh, yeah, it's quick. I mean, it sits back a lot.
It's got 10 gears, right? 10 speed?
Yeah, 10-speed automatic. So it's got 400 pounds, 425 pound-feet of torque. It does. It kind of... In the lower gears, it feels like it's not sure what gear it wants to be in, and it's not the smoothest shifting thing. Once you're moving, it's fine. And actually, the transmission coupled with the 4-wheel drive system, when we were doing the rock crawling portion with my host, Texas Dave, it felt like a naturally aspirated motor, almost electric. Like there's no turbo lag. There's no like this has to spool up to get us moving. And I mean, from 0 miles per hour to 10, whatever, with the gearing and the programming they did, it's very impressive. Because I was expecting this as a turbo engine. You're not going to have the response you do from an NA, et cetera. And like with the combination, I think, of like hill hold, the brakes, all the other stuff working together, the thing just crawls.
I've taken
really
a bunch of turbocharged engines up the trail, and I've had, for the most part, no real issues. I mean, the G-Wagon, G550 was turbo.
True.
The Land Rover Defender was a turbo. Granted, it had a 48-volt hybrid supplement, but
which I think stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or I think the way technology is working now, it's all so good, and they programmed it so well that every engine that's built for an off-roader feels like a really good NA-V8, which is really helpful for crawling. And dude, the thing is, it crawled up everything. I'm not an expert off-roader. Dave is far more capable. I mean, it went up all the things. Of course it did. That's the way they design these kind of launches. It was a press launch.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to sell a fuck ton because it looks cool. It's got a lot of clever stuff in the interior, and it's the only competition to Jeep, you know, really. I mean, they've been in a race of one for like 25 years.
Did they show you how to take the hard roof? Can you take the hard roof off easily?
They took it off quick. They did it for us for the for camera, not on camera, but they were like, oh, this is the camera vehicle. We'll take the roof off. And it just depends on which roof you get. There are so many options for this truck, dude. It's, I mean, I don't even know what the analogy would be. Like, it's like walking to a tailor and like, which suit do you want? Which interior color? What kind of tie? It's like there's different roofs. There's 2 different transmissions. There's different engines. There's different packages. There's different suspension. Like, there's so much shit. So I didn't have time to go through all of it. But the roofs come off pretty easily. There's soft top, hard top. It's modular. You can take it off. You can take off the front section of the roof.
Did you go in a soft top one at all?
No, just hard top, which gets noisy at like 70 miles per hour. It does? Yeah. There's wind noise and tire noise for sure. But it's a plastic roof.
Oh, it is? It's not like a hard roof. It's like the Wrangler's roof.
Well, no, I mean, it's hard plastic.
No, I know, but like it's not like body work.
No, it's not. It's because it's in pieces that lock together, which is clever.
So you can take the center sections off?
Yeah, you can take the center off by yourself. You can take the back off with another person.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's no headliner because it like that connects because you have to take the roof off. So there's compromises. But for what the car's job is and for the market it's going up against, like, it's really good. It's cool. You know, it drives great, looks great.
All right. Well, if you've got questions about Bronco, get in the super chat, and Zach will pull up the rest right now. Are you still? Do you need a C&P, or is that?
I got a C&P.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, actually, how many?
While Zach's doing that, Magnus, our pal, stopped by and left us some gifts. He left his new coloring book that he's doing with Fireball Tim, the Get Out and Drive coloring book, which has got 19 of Magnus's cars in iconic Los Angeles settings. And he actually, this is G as fuck. He dropped off his collaboration with Nike, and I got the 277 Nike SBs, which are awesome. They've got the British flag, the Urban Outlaw color scheme, and a tartan inside.
Oh, that's cool.
The tartan interior is G.
I hadn't seen that.
I have people on Instagram telling me that I should not wear these because there's some kind of investment. I think fuck to that.
Yeah.
I should rock these. These are cool.
Yeah, wear the shoes.
They look better in person even than they did on
They're
Instagram.
Really cool.
On Instagram, they look on Instagram it looked like he was trying to do a pre-dirty thing. I'm not really about pre-dirty. I don't know if you guys, you car people, know about pre-dirty, but it's a big thing in LA shoe fashion right now. The shoes, you buy these shoes and they're like $600 and they look pre-dirty.
Which is dumb
Which is the dumbest fucking thing in the world. And at first I thought these were pre-dirty and I was less into them, except now that they're here, they are not pre-dirty. They're like, it looks like the leather is just vintage enough that like the second you start wearing them, it will start, that's not on the screen. Oh yeah, it will start strategically, like it looks like it's meant to wear in an accelerated way, but it's not pre-dirty.
Well, it's got like kind of cracked leather.
Yeah.
Like the dry lake bed in August when it's all cracked up.
very exciting. I'm happy for Magnus. This must have taken a lot of time and phone calls and emails.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But I'm not going to be a bitch about it. I'm going to wear them.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
If someone gives you a gift, what I mean and plus,
well, and the guy that gave it to you is all about driving,
about using
cars,
the things,
don't bubble things, So you can't.
They look good.
You got to wear them.
While we're doing questions, I'm going to try one.
Put them on.
Down. I'm going to try them on and see if they're comfy because I got these big fat bread loaf feet. What do you got, Zach?
All right. Our first question is Matthew
comes with
Polk.
3 different sets of laces, dude. They did not.
Depending on which color you want.
Fucking cheap out on the laces. Nice.
Oh man, I like the red ones.
Oh, is this like these are going to be the ones that are worth money? You're going to be like laces never untied together. Like,
I mean,
look, it comes with these 2.
For some people, I don't know. You don't need to invest in a pair of shoes you were given to by a man who likes to drive the fuck out of his cars.
That's a good point.
You have watches.
Oh no, they have. Oh.
All right.
I hate when they do upside down lacing on these though. That's okay.
You know how to lace a shoe really quick because of the Reebok days.
I do.
Are those laced correctly?
They're laced in what you they're inside out laced, which is
from top down.
Top down. It's like a kind of a higher fashion way to do it. I like to lace them like traditional, but that's okay. I'm just gonna try them on. Okay,
right.
What do you got?
Matthew Polk says he notices we've been drinking some different whiskeys. Have either of us tried Japanese whiskey like Hibiki, Taketsuru, Yamazaki, or other countries like India or Australia? If so, what do we think? Yamazaki, we drank a bunch of years ago when it was amazing and cheap. I think Thad turned us onto it.
Yeah.
And then I remember one year we went to get a shot and it was $26, and I went, wait, what happened?
All of a sudden.
It won Whiskey of the Year, and all of a sudden it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars a bottle. So that was unfortunate. I don't think Hibiki is as interesting or as delicious as Yamazaki at all, personally.
What do you think?
Fuck yeah,
Pretty fucking dope, right?
Dude, they're sweet.
These are cool. Yeah. Magnus.
That's really cool.
Hooking up the kicks. These look dope, and they fit. They do actually fit, even with my fat feet. Sick. Now I have special occasion sneakers.
The tartan interior is cool.
I've been waiting for a special occasion sneaker to come back. I haven't had a special occasion sneaker in a while.
Yeah, I have those, what was that sponsor we had? The Benetton or something?
Oh, yeah, Beckett Simonons?
Beckett Simonons, which I love, and they sent you a pair that were too small, and you gave me, and they fit perfect. And
I have their like dress shoes, and they are dope.
Dude,
but I don't
so
have a fancy sneaker. Matthew, I have tried a bunch of those. I like the Japanese stuff very much. I haven't fucked with Indian whiskey. We may have to go hunting for some of that.
Yeah.
Or Australia, but I do love me a quality Japanese whiskey, and we have a bottle of Hibiki and a bottle of Yamazaki in the lounge right now.
Yes.
Tim says, just wanted to say hi. Hi, Tim. Jay Owens says, why are manufacturers not making range-extending EVs an option? Seems like a good stopgap for problems of long trips and for EV trucks that tow. Well, manufacturers do make range-extended EVs. They call them plug-in hybrids.
Right.
That's pretty much what they are. The problem actually has to do with regulation. If the vehicle's gas range, meaning the fuel economy times the gallons in the tank, I'm not going to describe this right, but basically the BMW in making the i3's range extender had to artificially reduce the gas range by shrinking the size of the fuel tank in order to get a certain credit that they were needed when they were building that car.
That's why
it only has like a 5-gallon tank, right? Yeah. So the bottom line is, I think the regulations and the tax credits and all that are incentivizing pure EVs or plug-in hybrids and not EVs that also have range extenders. Not to mention, a gas powertrain is heavy, requires a fuel tank, requires a cooling system, requires all this other stuff. And so if you've got heavy batteries and electric motors, and now we're putting a powertrain on top of that, you're really getting into heavy vehicles, and you're starting to run out of space to put things, So I think you've either got the plug-in hybrid, which has 40 miles of range to cover your day-to-day needs, and then a proper gas powertrain for you, either performance or highway driving, or you know, a 200 to 300 mile EV that really covers almost all your needs as long as you've got the right you know, charging solutions. I think that's probably why.
We got a bunch more that didn't actually populate in the viewer activity tab, so that's why I'm copying and pasting.
Okay.
Javier, wow, thanks for your donation.
Thank you, Javier.
That is very generous.
Do we?
Just read this.
Okay, let's say Nathan bought an Audi S4 B7 Avant with a 6-speed. Sell or keep. Has rare Oettinger body kit. Audi S4 B7 has an engine that is a ticking time bomb. Those plastic timing chain guides, our friend Bozy, the Bozy bot, says that he will never work on a B7 S4 engine. The RS4 doesn't have this problem. So, and nobody cares about the Oettinger body kit. There's like 6 people on VW Vortex that care about that. Nobody else gives a shit. I would say sell while it's still working, because it soon will not be. And I say that as someone who owned and loved a B6 S4. It was nice while it was working, but that engine is not long for this world.
All right, we're good now.
Holy shit, we got a lot. Okay, Sean says, now that commuting is back, I realize my ND Miata isn't great. No fucking shit. What's your ideal commuter for 15K? Something electric, like a Volt or used Lexus? Yeah, I mean, a Volt is fabulous.
Volt's amazing.
Yeah. If your commute is less than like, I mean, Volt has like 45 miles of EV.
Yep.
So, you know, even if your commute is 45 miles each way, you know, it still gets about 40 miles to the gallon on the gas range extender. So, you know, you can really reduce your gas bill. And I love the Volt. It drives much more like an EV than it does like a Prius.
Yes. Rides great.
They're good. So I do recommend a second gen Volt. If you get one of them. You might be able to get a fucking, what's the Cadillac? ELR? Can you get an ELR?
I've seen them around.
Get an ELR too. They're
you could
cool.
get one of those for under 15,
that'd be kind of awesome.
Car. Yeah.
That's the coolest looking car you can find for 15 grand probably.
That's a good point.
It's up there, right?
Yeah.
Luis Correa says, what's your go-to gear for riding motorcycles, and what gear should you never cheap out on? Gear for riding motorcycles.
Yeah, never. Yeah.
None of it. Don't cheap out on any of it. I am not necessarily a model of perfection when it comes to motorcycles. I have to balance. My riding is typically done around the city for day-to-day errands and appointments, and so I can't just put on a full bodysuit or leathers or crazy boots that I can't like walk in. So I have a Shoei. How do you pronounce SHOEI? Shui? SHOEI, and a nice helmet. I get a new helmet every 2 years. It's nothing super, super crazy, but it's one that's like well rated and full face. And I have a Scorpion jacket. I have 2 versions of the same jacket, the summer jacket and the winter jacket. One is like meshy and one is solid, but they're the identical jacket. You might not even notice that you switch between the 2 in my videos because they look exactly the same. And I then have some Dianese boots that look kind of like sneakers, like fancy sneakers or fancy shoes, kind of, and they're you know, proper motorcycle boots. And then I have Alpine Stars gloves. I have some summer gloves and some winter gloves, and then I just wear jeans. I don't wear special pants, and maybe I should. I don't.
You can also get you know, Kevlar reinforced jeans. And
they
stuff.
have,
I know they're a lot warmer.
They're hotter. They make me really hot, and it's just the risk. I should probably buy them for days where I go up in the canyons, I guess.
You should, because regular jeans will slide off or burn through like feet.
I know.
If you fall down.
No, I know.
Which you don't.
I'm
you
not,
don't
like I said,
yeah.
I'm not perfect, but like that's what I ride in. Yeah. Quinn says, there's a lot of fast SUVs today, but do we remember the BMW X5 Le Mans? It was when they put a 700 horsepower V12 with a manual gearbox into a first-gen X5. I do remember it. There's some fun videos of, I believe, a Hans Stuck driving it around the Nürburgring, and it did predate all these super SUVs. It was cool.
That's very cool.
It was very cool, you know, and they did it, I think it used, I think, a version of like The McLaren F1
yeah,
engine.
the McLaren F1 engine.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
This carbon intake.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. The prototype is still kicking around somewhere. Yeah.
Cool.
Who wrote that? Aaron Robinson.
Aaron Robinson.
Aaron Robinson wrote it, January 2001, Car and Driver. Yeah, very cool stuff. Kurt says, I got a Maserati Levante Trofeo thanks to us. He's saying, should he buy a Hellcat wide body video? I don't think I need anything else. I mean, that's a fast car. You certainly don't need more car than that, either in square footage, weight, or power.
I feel like those two cars are a little redundant. They're both fast people carriers that are kind of extroverted.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you, like, I don't know, Hellcat will do burnouts and Levante won't. It's kind of fancy, but I think they're a little bit, there's a little too much overlap for me to want to own both.
I agree. Trent says, oh boy. The guy with the '09 Pontiac GT, currently my show car. Oh boy. Looking for a newer turbo hatch, prefer all-wheel drive, WRX, Golf R, or other niche vehicles. I mean, there's a Veloster N, it's not all-wheel drive, but I mean, there isn't anything new under the sun here. Newer turbo hatches. You've got the GTI, you've got the WRX isn't a hatch. You've got the Mazda 3.
Well, it depends on
Touring.
Yeah. If he's going newer but used still, then like the WRX hatch is an option.
Sure.
The egg.
Okay.
But yeah, all the stuff we've said before. I like the Golf R so much. It's just it'll feel so nice compared to the 5 GT.
That's true. I mean, I'd probably get a Golf R. There aren't any other niche vehicles. There just aren't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Ray says, if paint to sample was available to our current cars, what would we choose for each? I'd like to have my Ferrari 328 in British Racing Green.
I was going to say that for M3.
Yeah. I mean, British Racing Green is awesome. The Countach is perfect and does not need to be changed at all. And I wouldn't change. I mean, I wouldn't probably ask for Cassis Red. My original plan for the Safari was to paint it Dalmatian blue, and that's my favorite Porsche color still. But now that we know how well it turned out, I certainly wouldn't change the color of the Safari. But if I was doing a new Porsche project, if I was going to give $1 million to Gunther, I would ask for Dalmatian blue, which is a fun color.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Miles says, I just graduated with my master's degree and I want to celebrate my student debt balance with a good road trip book, fiction or otherwise. A road trip book.
PG O'Rourke, with Drive Like Crazy.
Yeah.
That book's so entertaining.
That's a good one. Cannonball by Brock Yates is a classic.
Yeah.
There's, Travels with Charlie? Isn't that Jack Kerouac? That's a Jack, it is, right? Travels with something. Isn't that Jack Kerouac?
Yeah.
Steinbeck. Steinbeck, sorry. Those are good ones.
Those are good.
Yeah. I would start there. And then, what was the other one? The Mary Roach stuff is just super fun. Like, Mary Roach writes books about, like, the things you don't think about topics that are, like, she writes a book about war called Grunt, and it doesn't talk about weapons or murdering anybody or war strategy or battles. It talks about how to keep a soldier from getting diarrhea. It talks about how to keep, how to keep a soldier from overheating. And like,
interesting.
Yeah, all these different ones. Like, I just finished Packing for Mars, which is about all the things you never thought about sending a human to space. Like, shit we take for granted right now, like the fact that our digestive system works in space. Like, there was a time where they did not know if you could consume food in space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, and it was like how they figured out the very basics of things that we no longer think about keeping a human alive in space. And so she wrote that one. Go back to the list. There's other ones. Grunt is the one about soldiers. Gulp is the one about how your digestive system works. I read Stiff, which is the one about corpses and dying. That one was really crazy. The one about cadavers. And I forget what Bonk is about. Bonk was in like what happens in labs.
The study. Oh no,
it's the one about
physiology.
boning. It's the one about it's the physiology of sex.
Which is like that was that Showtime show. What was it called? Master of Sex.
Yeah,
all about the studying back in the 50s.
So I can't recommend Mary Roach's books highly enough. They're all really fun and interesting, and you can just blast right through them. So Zach says Bronco question is the 2 points. You didn't drive the stick, so you don't actually know.
I didn't. I would say go read David Tracy's review on Jalopnik. The TLDR of that is the small engine actually gets worse mileage on the highway than in the city. It gets like 17 highway, 18 city because it's so weak.
Yeah, and that's automatically bad.
Which is
bad. A bad sign.
You know, so it really, if it's a city runabout and a trail car, sure, you can get the 2.3. He liked the manual. Everyone I know who drove the manual liked it. But if you're going to be driving on the highway a lot, you know, and if you can afford the larger engine, I would get the larger engine. Because I don't think it's that. I think it's like $1,800 more. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if you can afford the larger engine, it will make everything easier. I mean, can you imagine towing with the 4-cylinder or something if you wanted to bring like a boat or a dirt bike?
I remember that 4-cylinder Wrangler so well that I would never buy a vehicle like that without having the biggest available engine.
I want to see. Oh, I was trying to look up what the
engine
2.7
option
cost was, but
that's
buried.
That's buried. Thanks, Diz. Wanted to compliment my Tradecraft Farms vape clouds. Thank you very much. Ethan FES says, oh, wait, no, sorry. Scouting for Zen says, based on your experience, how much do modern tires change the behavior and scariness of classic sports cars and supercars? A ton. A ton. The idea that a 930 turbo Porsche is somehow a Widowmaker with 235 horsepower when you've got Pilot Sport 4S tires is absurd. Most of those cars, and my old cars, I never drove a 328 on a really original tires, but like I have some brand new Contis on there now that fucking have really a lot of grip. Zach, remember that 308 up in the canyons driven by that dude Bo, and we were in like the M6 and this dude is like caning this thing?
Holy shit.
Yeah. Carrera GTs, all these cars with modern tires are very, very easy to drive.
Yeah. I mean, it changes everything a lot.
Yeah.
Because the tires break away slower now. They have higher grip in general. Material science has changed a lot. I think we can also give a lot of credit to the lap times of it, you know, from Nürburgring, whatever, to tire technology.
Yeah. It really does significantly improve the performance of old cars to the point where it does remove that scary from a substantial portion of that scary. I mean, I've driven fucking cars that should be super hairy if they were on, you know, the tires they came with, but like the Yellowbird, dude. I drove the Yellowbird. The Yellowbird, you saw that Stefan Roser video, dude. That shit is fucking bananas, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've seen Der Fascination, like, but I wasn't like sliding it intentionally, but I was going full throttle in second gear, and really getting on the throttle. And that car with 470 horsepower and 2,200 or 2,300 pounds, no problem here. You know what I mean? There was no question that I was going to actually break the fucking rear tires loose. Whereas that car probably could have done that, you know, with the original tires.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the deal. That's the deal. Zach is going to Italy.
Yes.
When are you leaving?
Friday afternoon.
Zach's going to go to Maranello and play with some Ferraris in Italy.
Dude, get a factory tour.
Pretty awesome. Real cool. And I'm going to do a show on Friday, the All Watch show. It's going to be with Ariel Adams, who has a great car adjacent name, of a blog to watch. And we're going to do the Smoking Tire podcast, but we're going to do all your watch stuff. It's going to be a whole episode about watches on the Smoking Tire podcast. So if you have questions live that's going to be this Friday, and Jay Ryan will be producing because Zach will be on a plane to Maranello.
Yes.
Aside from that, you can watch Zach's Bronco review over on the Haggerty YouTube channel. They have picked up my show modified for another round, but we're not going to air it. We're going to not filming it until Q4 and airing it in Q1. So we'll be filming it in which is good because I don't want to film at racetracks in August anyway.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. I want to film at racetracks in October and November. That's nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our show. Did I miss anything on my list that I really wanted to cover today? I don't think so. No. Nothing else. My GLA45 review will be coming out next week. And we have, I just got the Maybach SUV. It looks sick.
I want to go look at that thing.
It looks sick. I can't wait. All right, that's our show. See you later. Bye.